In this video, we will learn how to convert ungrouped data into grouped data. And in this video, we are focused on quantitative data, univariate, ungrouped. So I have 4 examples. In the first example, I have discrete quantitative data. Second example is also discrete quantitative data. In the third example, I have continuous quantitative data, and the fourth example is also continuous quantitative data. So this is ungrouped. We want to convert it to grouped data, which means we want to create a frequency table. So what we do is we look at this data and find out what the unique values are. So there are 6 unique values: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what we want to do is write a formula here to get the frequencies of each of these 6 unique values. So frequency of 1 means how many times 1 appears in this data. So we will make use of an Excel function called COUNTIF. COUNTIF, in this range, the criteria is this: 1, 4. So there are 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Similarly for 2, equal to COUNTIF this, comma, this. So frequency of 2 is 5. Now, we don't want to write the same formula 6 times. We want to copy this formula down. But we have to be a little bit careful. If we copy this formula down as is, we may not get the correct result. So for example, if we sum all these frequencies, see, we did not get 25, we should have got 25. So what happened was, we needed to make some adjustment here so that when we copy the formula down, the correct formula gets copied. So what happened? See, here in the count formula, the range of values is D6 to D30, which is correct, D6 to D30. In the second one, we typed the formula, so we got D6 to D30. In the third formula, it became D7 to D31. That's what happens when you copy a formula in Excel. If you copy a formula 1 row below, the row numbers increase by 1. But we did not want the row numbers to increase. So what we really should have done is, when we first wrote this formula, we should have typed a $ in front of the row numbers that we want to keep fixed. Now H6, we don't want to keep H6 fixed, because when we copy the formula down, we want the H6 to become H7, H8, H9, and H10, etc. Okay, so now if we copy this formula down, we get 25. So all 25 are accounted for. So that's it. We can repeat this process for this one. This time the unique values are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we'll type the COUNTIF function, D35 to D59. And right here, we want to add the $ in front of 35 and 59. So the frequency is 3 for 3. And if we have the sum function, we get 25, which matches this. Okay, and then we can center this, and we can center this. Now, let's move to continuous quantitative data. So continuous quantitative data is handled a little bit differently. Why? Because there could be any number of unique values, because infinite number of values are possible. So we cannot have one row for each unique value, and anyway for each unique value the frequency will be 1 in most cases, 2 in rare cases. So what we do is we have to get a range of values. So we create bins. So we create bins. Okay, that means we'll have a range of values and we'll have frequencies for ranges of values. So the way we determine the ranges, we find the minimum value and we find the maximum value, and then we find the range, which is max minus min. So the range is 1350, and then we decide roughly how many bins we are interested in. So 7 is a very good number of bins, but it's not a magic number. You can have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but no more than 10. Let's say we want 7. So what we do is we figure out an approximate bin size for the entire range. So 192.86, let's round it to 200. So by doing this little process, we have figured out that for 7 bins, a bin size of 200 is appropriate. So what we do is we have the low value of the range and the high value of the range and then the frequency. So what we do is we want to start the first bin a little bit lower than the minimum value. So let's start with 100 and the bin size is 200, so the high value is 300. Then 300 to 500, like this. So now we can copy this till we reach 1500 because that's above the max value. Okay. So figuring out the number of bins, the bin size, the low and the high values is half the job. Now we just have to type a function here to compute the frequency for this range. So this is the number of values that fall between 100 and 300. So the formula is similar to COUNTIF that we used here, but because there are two values here, 100 and 300, the formula is slightly tricky. So the function to use is not COUNTIF, but COUNTIF-S. S stands for a series of criteria. So we have two criteria here. The first criteria is that the values in this range are greater than or equal to ampersand the low value. The second criteria is that the same range, the values are less than ampersand high value. So we have two criteria, greater than or equal to 100 and less than 300. So if it's exactly 300, it will not count. It will be counted in the next bin. So 5. Now before I copy this formula down, we should put dollar signs in front of all the row numbers for the ranges. Dollar sign before 66 and 90, dollar sign before 66 and 90. We don't want to put a dollar sign before this 68 and this 68 because we want that 68 to become 69, 70, 71 and so on. Okay, now we copy this. Let's see if we account it for all 25. So we'll do sum of these 25. So that's it. That's our frequency table. Let's repeat this process for this one. So we'll first figure out the min value. Min of this range, 1350, max of this range, and then the range, so max minus min. Okay, so let's suppose we want 7 bins. So the bin size will be the range divided by 7 85.71. So let's round it up to 100. So the low value is 1350. So we can start with 1300 and the bin size is 100. So the high value for the first bin is 1400. The low value for the next bin is 1400. The high value is 1500. So now we can copy this down till we reach above 1950, so 2000. So that's the procedure we follow to figure out the bin size and the bin ranges. And now we write the count if S function, this range, comma, within double quotes, greater than or equal to ampersand, the low value, comma, same range, comma, less than the high value. That's it. Of course, before we copy the formula down, we should put the dollar signs at appropriate spots in front of the row numbers for the range. Okay, now we are free to copy this down. Did we account for all 25 in the original data? Let's see. Yes, we did. So we're all set. So we did 4 examples, 2 for converting discrete quantitative data from ungrouped to grouped, 2 examples, and 2 for converting continuous quantitative data from ungrouped to grouped. So now that we have these frequency tables, we can do some more things with it. We can create cumulative frequency, etc. And we'll do that in another video. So that's the end of this lesson.